10,000 hours is a steep mountain to climb to become a master, especially when the task at hand puts a relentless demand on your body. There is nothing casual about this sport. It's all in, all effort, all focus. It takes a lot from you, but the reward is unmatched. Mastery of oneself, an acute understanding of your weaknesses with an explosive sense of your strengths. Being able to complete the climb to mastery requires the proper nutrition. This is why it's important to take in a potent blend of electrolytes that is in tune with your output and brings strength to your goals. This potent blend is only found in salt electrolytes. Salt targets your depleted electrolyte levels with a boost of hydration and health. It gives your body the baseline recovery it needs.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another installment of The Bullpen. Kev, we got a huge board. Why don't we get straight to it right now? Go ahead and lead us off.
Yeah, thanks, Raph. Today we're talking about the clean aesthetic of Gold BJJ. They're phenomenal streetwear they've got. It's not just training gear, guys. You can get streetwear. Raph, are these all Gold BJJ? All of these cards are Gold BJJ?
Yep, just read the script like we talked about.
Yeah, you're right. They've got a variety of styles. They have a bag. It's phenomenal competition gear. You can bring it with you. These are really cool. Are any of these for me? Like that bag?
No. They didn't have any stuff for you. They ran out of your
Well, they're
sizes.
really affordable if you need to go out there and get them. You can just get the stuff, goldbjj.com.
These shorts are awesome. I'm going to get this. Wait. Oh, this
Do they have a second set for me? Is that a thing they have?
They were like, hey, man, we ran out of stuff, and they didn't have it in your size because like fat. You know what I mean? So, like, these are all for like me. Anyway, go visit our friends at goldbjj.com.
Elevate your BJJ game with inverted gear, where pandas and performance meet. Whether you train in a gi or prefer no gi, we have something for you. Our gear is built to last and designed to perform no flashy extras, just high-quality craftsmanship and minimal design. Plus, pandas. Don't miss our back-to-school sale going on now. Visit www.invertijar.com and roll with confidence panda style.
What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Raph Esparza, coming to you with a bit of a post show. Listen, this thing's still going on. It started at about 4:15. Started late, so let's say it was about 4:23. Sometime there. It is now currently 10:11 Best Coast time. So that means it's been going on for 6 hours. So some stuff has happened. And I had originally considered going down to the AIGA trials myself to do some reporting there and to tell you some things firsthand. Things changed, so I was not able to go today. I think the plan is maybe to go tomorrow, but I think it might be a good idea because we want to show some love to our friends who have been competing. We have a lot of people in there. What's up, Chris Crawford? I saw you out there today. What's up, Mick Mac? Appreciate you guys. There's been a lot of stuff on a Saturday against football for a 6-hour program. Maybe some of you, let me rephrase that, maybe a lot of you didn't actually watch this thing. So we're waiting for it to conclude. And when it comes to a close, when it's finally all said and done, what we're going to do here is we're going to do a quick little recap of the major and notable moments. So currently, I believe there is 2 more matches. And in this last round that is happening just today, we did see other team matches happen throughout the day. But in this current last 2 matches, you have Fight Sports and Vanguard. Vanguard already won their previous team matchup. Now you are seeing at this current moment the possibility of them advancing if they win here. The issue is they are behind on this current series, but you do see Nick Ronan out there doing his damnedest to make sure they do it. What's up, Arturo? Good to see you, man. And it says so much dang content lately. I mean, the underground don't stop for hoes, my friend. I work, and it said watched a lot of it. That's good. I'd love to hear what your thoughts and opinions of it are, Egg, because to me, I think there is some big good stuff that came out of this. Now, granted, if you're looking at this time, it is 1:14 on East Coast time. I get the impression this may not be for everybody, but there are some things that we're going to talk about once this is all said and done here that I think will kind of give us a firm recap of all the major events that did happen. But as we are waiting for it to unfold, I believe right now we are currently looking at Nick and Rodrigo still at a scoreless 0-0. So as a result of that, we see if they get a result here. Nick is trying to attack this leg. He's looking good. And for a split second, it looked like Nick may have been able to reap and get on over and finish that leg. Unfortunately, does not get it. There's 47 seconds left in this round. Now, again, this might be confusing because we said the word round. Then there's the team element. And then there's also 3 5-minute rounds. So it can be a little confusing here. So that is why I think you have seen these matches kind of draw on for such a long period of time. And why I think it's reasonable, even if you were following the action, maybe you didn't follow all of it. And to be perfectly frank, I'm pretty sure we saw some of our friends within the community who were either attending or participating in said event today who have already hightailed it and gotten out of there. So really, this is just a show for crazy people at this point. A lot of you guys have to be obscenely, insanely in love with jiu-jitsu to not only be watching this, but to still have it on your internet television in some way, shape, or form. And I'll be honest with you, these events, they look like they have so much money being poured into them. What's up, the Daily Stack? And yet, Rhyme or Reason says there's like a couple things that seem missing from it. No? Like something feels off, and it says we like crazy. Is a little bit of what the hell is happening here? And it does look like we go to the rest period. So we've got 19 seconds left here before Rodrigo and Nick go back at it for another round of matchup. And if memory serves me correct, and it might, this should be the final round. So you got Vanguard in here that has been just doing an excellent job thus far in. And Fight Sports didn't have a first series to go through. So if anything, Fight Sports kind of coming in here clutch, like able to sneak in, have one major round of competition for them, and then they're done for the day. And they may pick up the win here. So it is going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. And Nicholas Ronan, I mean, he got a submission earlier in the day, so it was fun to watch him do his thing, and I'm very happy and proud of him. But it is entirely possible that if he doesn't pick up the win here, Fight Sports will pick up the best of 7 series between their athletes. That's why this is so confusing. There's 6 different teams. They're fighting to get the one opportunity to then go to the big dance, their worlds, where there will be other teams like, I believe there's a team Acai, there's a team Madolfo, there's a team Kasai, I want to say. And I thought it was for $1 million, but I have learned tonight that it is actually for $500,000, and the other half is split between the other teams. So in total, they're going to give out $1 million, which A+. Nonetheless, it did kind of jar me when they're like, and they're going for their chance to win $500,000. And because we're spoiled now, I was kind of thinking like, oh, it's a little bit smaller money. You know what I mean? Like, we gave Nicky Rod $1 million. These guys are out here killing themselves in multiple periods just to stay alive. And speaking of just staying alive, Nick pulling guard right now, 3:30 left to go in this match. He's looking for some kind of way to elevate Rodrigo. They have had an excellent back and forth, and it has been fun to watch them. And Rodrigo tries to use his hip to push down and advance. Nothing doing there, but it does look like there is a hold. They're going to put a pause on the action and bring them back on over to the center of the mats. Now, some of you may be asking yourself, Raph, how can you start a post show before the show has actually ended? And to that, I say to you, look how late it is. This shit's not going to fucking finish yet. So we listen, we are trying to live lives here. If you could start the post show earlier, I feel that's something you got to do. Sorry, 1 second here. For a split second, I thought I was going to sneeze. Then I did. Then I wasn't. One more second. All right, and we're back. So this is what I'm telling you here, people. The weirdness of this whole thing is that, sure, you have to qualify, you have to make it to the big dance. But you start off 6 teams, so that's already going to be a weird thing. It's a round robin format. So one team out of each bracket of 3 goes to the finals. But to do that, you have to have a track style meet where it's just one weight versus one weight. It's not like a quintet where you stay in as long as you can. It's just 1 versus 1. So, okay, stay with me there. Then, for additional bonus fun, each match can potentially go 15 minutes. So do that math. If you have 6 or 7 or 8 weight classes, and they all can go 15 minutes, yikes. So, what's up, Tenzin? What is up, Pete? It's a weird television product that I don't know how to fully process or to give it its due or to discuss it properly. We go. So that is why we are currently on a hold pattern in terms of a post-show element, even though we just decided, you know what, fuck it, let's just go straight ahead and do it. It's like a wrestling team duel. Sure. But do wrestling team duels go for 15 minutes each? And if so, how many teams are dueling against each other? There's something weird about having it be this long that I can't put heads or tails. And it says, but each match going 15 minutes is insanity. That's what I'm saying. Listen, dude, I'm just trying to figure out how we get the thing moving. But there's been a bit of this. And I have to tell you, just speaking candidly here, people, I'm not sure either of these teams that we are seeing here currently in the lead are going to beat like a Modolfo team, an Acai team. I am very worried for the other teams because tonight, if these things are each going 15 minutes, you know, what are these guys going to do when they get somebody like a Dante Leon? Like, yikes, you know? So this is kind of what we have been watching this evening. And like I said, right now, because it's a best of 7 series, we are currently in the process of waiting for the 6th match, which is very vital to this, to let us know if one team is going to advance to the finals. Now, here's the weird thing. Even when they have had a majority, they still decided, you know what we should do? Let all the matches play out. So there's that. I see a note here that says, what are your thoughts on Tyler Brown? What specifically would you like to know about Tyler Brown? I'm not quite sure what this is. And it does look like Nick Ronan is celebrating right now. He is energetic and he is powered up right now, bro. So the referee is calling for them. It says a wrestling match in high school was at least 3 2-minute rounds. Yes, correct. So 8 minutes with rest between rounds, I think. But I wrestled in high school 28 years ago. I mean, here's the good news. Wrestling does not want to change a whole bunch. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be similar to what you experienced. Maybe there's some small modifications that they've made. But it does look like they gave the result to Jake Watson. Referee is making his way on over. And Jake is running like a madman to get back on the mats. So, yeah, I think we're going to see Nick Ronan pick up the decision here if he was celebrating that much. Otherwise, not the buenoest, but Nick Ronan keeps his team alive. So, yeah, he has reason to jump up and celebrate. For a while, it was looking like a foregone conclusion that you were going to see Fight Sports potentially upsetting the great day already for the good folks over at Vanguard. But Vanguard still in this thing. It is tied now 3-3. So it all comes down to this match. And as soon as this match is done, we will get to our prepared. Because guess what we did tonight? We actually did some preparation. You didn't think we can do that. Now, if you're watching this on Instagram, it's not going to look as good. I would highly encourage you to go see this on our YouTube, on our Twitch, on our Twitter, all that sort of stuff, because that version is going to be the more realistic version. We still haven't figured out how to broadcast this in 2 different sections, because I can do it on Instagram, but it gets all clunky. It looks weird. And it tells me it's broadcasting in 1080, but I don't believe it. So I'll take that, StreamYard, for helping us out. But Ecamm's the shit. We love Ecamm. So I'm seeing over here, what's up, Oodlam? Good to see you. Appreciate you guys. One thing I do want to bring up, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but there's a lot of seats out there. And like, I put some feels out. This is not necessarily to talk trash about anything. But at one point, somebody told me there was about 70 seats filled. Okay, sure. Then don't put out 600 seats. It looks like there's 600 seats out there. I used to do audiences for years. I'm just making a jelly bean jar count here. And I feel I can conservatively say there's about 600 seats around this arena. And if that's the case, if you didn't sell that many, don't put out that many, because now I can't take my eyes off of it. And when those red lights hit the back of those chairs, there have been multiple times today when I'm like, that is a lot of empty seats. And it just creates a lot more attention to it. And to me, when I'm watching that and I think to myself, why are there so many empty seats? They spent a lot of money. Like, look at those electronic LED walls that they brought. They're beautiful. Look at the money that they're spending on these athletes to come here and be part of this. It's just a small little thing that does seem to make the difference. But you got Dylan Garofalo and Angel Morales. This is for the winning bragging rights for the team. Now, if Vanguard gets this, they should essentially confirm their spot in that final. Now, if there is a tie for any reason, those are broken on how well you do against the team compiled. So they go to submission rates, all that sort of stuff. So it does bear some importance on not only if you win, but how do you win? Because it does look entirely possible these could come down to ties. And right now, for a split second here, I thought Dylan was looking to attack Angel's leg here. And you have to ask yourself, if you are definitely one of these teams and you do get your checkmat or you do get your Vanguard, coming in and only have 1 match today and then potentially 2 matches tomorrow, but you get that rest period. I don't know if you like going all at once and then the second day only having to go once. It's very strange to figure out what the preference is for the athletes or if they even care, but it does seem very convenient that after all these incredible matches, you kind of get to waltz in here toward the end of the day and be like, let's see how this goes. We might just beat Vanguard. Make our way through. Because for Team Checkmat, they ended up annihilating their team, but they only had to go against Legion in really 4 matches because Team Legion was already down 2 members. 1, they didn't have an under 60, I believe. 2, they lost a competitor, I guess, due to injury. And I think after that, they ended up losing somebody else. So really, you had a slew of forfeits because Adam Bradley, that was the one. He ended up opting not to go back again. And speaking of not going back right now, Dylan Garofalo, coming in on these legs, wants to make it so that Angel's not going to be able to walk back home tonight. Good Lord, this kid is putting in work on this. So there is that. And that's why I'm keeping eyes on all this. But it is kind of an interesting struggle to figure out, how do you look if you've had this go on for your entire day? What is that effectively going to mean for you? And if you look at it a little bit earlier, you did have earlier in the day, Dylan Garofalo, he was in the mix a little bit earlier in the day. And his previous match was against Gio Martinez. And that was a back and forth affair that, both of those guys looked really freaking good. Gio ended up pulling out the win in just kind of like a clutch moment, but it was by no means assured. Like, it was intense. And there were a few times where it looked like Gio was going to easily take that one through. And it said, wait, so Bradley only had one match. Yes, that is correct. So Bradley had the first match. He did win. He looked good. But when it came time for Legion was essentially already mathematically out of the competition. So he pulled out. And it's interesting because we didn't get to see Dory tonight. And Dory, who is going to be competing on the PGF's next season, I think they did something similar. I think Checkmat had the ability to pull some switches. So if you have more team members, you can switch them in and out. And we'll get to talking a little bit about that later, but there was a kind of mix up with Elder Cruz as well. So this is why the format is not only tricky, but it did cause a few production delays. So if you guys are looking back at any of the stats for the day, hopefully this fills in some of the questionable moments. And listen, dude, not for nothing, but Dylan is trying to finish here, and Angel is holding on for dear life, but he may be looking at a secured pass because this could be a head and arm position if he's able to kind of very, very quickly slow play this. With his leg, it is trapped, and that could work in Dylan's favor. I think Dylan's looking to see if maybe he can take this leg on out. But that's a lot of good balance here. And Angel, if he finishes up this head and arm choke, could secure the team for the win. And it said Bradley looked good, but it took him almost 2 rounds to take out the runner-up from the Las Vegas qualifier. That is true. And they are in the rest period right now, so they do get to wait on that one. So we're talking about the runner-up from the PGF qualifier process. I think there's one thing to figure out about Bradley. And I think part of the reason why we did score him high on our rankings initially is that, yes, he comes from experience, but he's also going to be hard to submit. And I feel like Brandon has already said this is going to be a low scoring season. Watch those be the dying words of a predictor. If that were the case, you get a back take or a choke artist, somebody who can take the back or knows how to find them. I think Bradley's capable of that. I think he has the ability to do that. But never overlook the person who can put points on the board, even by getting what I believe tonight. I got to go back and double check this, but I thought that Bradley ended up getting a foot log off of that one, but I might be wrong. Yes. Dyer, he's actually pretty good too, so I don't want to overlook that as well too much, but I think it's almost a little sacrifice there by Dylan. I think it gets weird because I think the other thing you have to take into consideration for rankings, that's kind of fun, is the fact that they may have a bad round or two, but if those people have been around and been through multiple days of competition, they do have a little bit of a competitive edge in knowing how to eke out those wins or those small points here and there. So they might not be winning the day, but there is a consistency to Bradley's work that I'm intrigued to see how it plays out in the PGF. But yes, thank you. Like I said, what I would say though is I think the funnest part about any prediction game is looking to be surprised by the results. So having an element of, I'd like to see somebody show us wrong or do something incredible. What's up, Roll Dogs? I think there is some room for possibility of seeing some upsets and seeing us be a little bit surprised, and I welcome that. Let it happen. All right, so now you can see why we went ahead with the post show and that we couldn't just wait for these guys to get to the end, because at the very least, if I've started this beast, then we know we can get to the end of the actual show. So there is that. We put up a test here tonight, and I'm interested to see if Flow Grappling... oh, that's kind of cool. Flow Grappling did keep up my post. I did put up something here, and I did say if anybody's interested in chat tonight, we'll be doing a post show. And I saw George W. saying, I was listening to you last night. That's not creepy at all. I mean, I'll take it. So very happy to hear that, but thanks you guys. And still not a ton of movement here. So we're still waiting for this to kind of see its way through. I kind of like being proven right. It always feels nice. Yeah, I know. I mean, statistically, the nice part about that is you tend to, if you follow trends, it's a little bit like stock trading. If you pay attention, often you will see the fruits of those labors. But I think the hard part is differentiating those who know how to get points on the board, taking some guesses, and then at the same time trying to find out who those surprise elements were going to be. So we put up our predictions, if you would, our poll, kind of like weighted results between our different predictions on who would make money, which, by the way, Dylan Garofalo is now ahead 2-0 in this round. But we'll get to why that doesn't matter here in a second. So we put up our PGF power rankings, and already in the chat, we had people who felt certain ways about them, and I kind of expected that. And I have to be honest, I think I have a lot of respect for those people who just hate us quietly. Because even the homies who are really good homies knew it was worthless to try and tell us we were wrong, because it's all theoretical until they show up. And the best revenge they could get is just to win and get points. But I think they also know that I have suffered no time for caring about, oh no, theoretically, you might not be the best person. And then I just would roast them. So only one person had a little bit of feels so far. Everybody else, pretty good, but I think they took it in stride. So I will give them that. So you guys can follow their social media to figure out exactly who I'm referring to on that one out of the 20 athletes. But let me just say this. We are excited to be a part of that team, and I look forward to seeing a lot of those guys in person. All right, so why do these points not ultimately matter? Okay, so in the points process, if you win a round by points, stay with me, and it's you versus this guy. You have 3 5-minute rounds, right? Nobody gets a submission. The points don't carry over. So the points are only in that block that you did, that first 5-minute period. They do not carry over, but in theory, you can be the best out of 3 by points. So it's essentially one of the Russian dolls that's just a smaller doll and a smaller doll and a smaller doll. So every time we see this, it's like, oh shit, he's ahead 2-0. We're done here. Not necessarily. You have to come in for the full experience of, you know what? You got that one. Back to this. Because none of it makes any sense if in round 3, maybe you were ahead 2-0 and you're thinking, oh, I just gotta go. They submit you, they still win. That's it. Seems fairly straightforward. Oh, Dylan Garofalo working on this footlock, looks for the belly down, doesn't get it. Now looking on over, has a little bit of a 50-50, switches it off, comes up on it, and Angel is playing from bottom. Now, this is where things get interesting, because yes, now that in that last round, Dylan had a 2-point score, it could be that he ends up coming ahead as a result of that. Sorry, that was a replay, so I was just giving you a recap of the replay and how he got the points. So here's what it comes down to. Third round, points were nice. Try to finish your opponent if you can. But if you really think about it, the Russian doll inside the Russian doll inside the Russian doll here, this is the final round of the day. So this is the final 5-minute period. Whoever wins this wins it for their team. This, of course, would be great for either to have that advantage. Vanguard would essentially lock up their place in the finals. So there is that. The issue that comes from this, though, is if there is some sort of tying mechanism. But I think if they have 2 wins, they wouldn't have to worry about any sort of tie situation. So I think that's good. Unless, does it come if they tie in the finals? That could be where it plays in a factor. So who knows? You just got to try and win every single one of these things. It just goes to show you cannot sleep on any of these things. What's up, Ian Dobb? You were in this. I'm glad you showed up here. I'm glad you get to see me trying to explain what the hell you were doing. And by the way, big man, Jesus Christ, the movement. So much fun to watch. I don't understand how you, Bobby, Brailer, all of you guys are just one giant conglomerate and unit. Like, it is a lot watching you guys put in work here tonight, and it's always fun to see you do some wrestling out there, sir. So keep up the great work. Thank you very much to Ian Dobb, who is a beast in his own right. So, yeesh. We even put this right now. Dylan Garofalo, now he had a negative point pulled against him. Okay, we're getting into some of the rules again. If you wrestle, I think it doesn't count for the first 2 minutes. They have a weird rule. And I can't, what's up, Kimmerson Academy? It's hard to put that one into context. So let me see here. So 10th Planet and finishers were eliminated. So let's hold to that one. Let's go back. I want to make sure we're getting this accurate. If memory serves me right, finishers won their first set. So finishers beat Legion in the first set. Then, a little bit later, we saw that 10th Planet went. And 10th Planet, I believe, lost as a team. So they're kind of in a rough place. But what we're saying right now is, in terms of this B versus A bracket, you kind of have to separate them into something. You know what this is? This is just paperwork. That's what this is. It's so many fucking things you have to follow. You can't just literally look at them and say who won. You have to go, well, let me remind you how you won and who you won against. So let's take this back for a second and let's get into how this is all happening. If you'll recall, there is a group side A and a group side B. This is, I swear to God, there is a much simpler way to do all this, but I think it might be that there's only 6 teams as part of the reason why they had to do this. I guess on the commentary, they were saying in different organization history, they have had 8 teams, which just kind of made it a little bit more of a straightforward bracket. With 6 with the round robin format, it's kind of odd. Okay, so let's go back to what yesterday we were previewing, which is the different bracket sides. So there's 3 teams on side A, 3 teams on side B. Are we with me so far? I hope so. Because if you can't follow that, things get a little bit rougher at this point. So on Team A, you had Team Legion, Team Finishers, and Team Checkmat. So Team Checkmat won their 1 team bout today. Team Finishers. They won their first against Legion. So Finishers does have one victory for today. Are we clear on that? So right now, check. As a result of that, we can probably just say here that Legion is out because they lost twice today. So we could say they're eliminated. Speaking of eliminated, we do see right here that Fight Sports is able to pull ahead. And figuring out exactly how and why is just heartbreaking because you did have Ruffalo doing his damnedest to try and make something of it, but he was not able to win in the last period. He was not able to get this back take Mora trap into the triangle. Did not happen. And right now, the celebration with Fight Sports is heavy. It is loud. And I mean, now you do see how that played out for them. So Fight Sports has won. So on that side, Fight Sports has won. 10th Planet, 0. Vanguard, 1. So that's kind of how we have the standings at this moment. Of course, Team Checkmat coming in pretty aggressively here tonight does give you this. What I would love to see from AIGA is a results board, because that would help make sense of this. And of course, Team Checkmat is going to look great because they essentially had a sweep, even though they didn't have as many rounds. They had 4 out of 7, but they won them. So they looked very good here tonight. But 3 of them were forfeit. So it is important to keep that perspective in that. So tomorrow they're going to do some more rounds and then we pick up from there. So that's how this all stands at this. It says this is way too much World Cup qualifier style. You're telling me, dude. I'm doing the best I can to literally give you it. I don't think I'm super wrong, but when you ask a very simple question, it unfortunately takes a minute of, well, hold on. Carry the 1. This team is here. Very strange. Okay, well, tomorrow there's some more, I guess the last remaining elimination round stuff is happening. So the prelims, I think, will essentially, actually, no, today was all on YouTube, and we'll get to this in a second. But now that this is all said and done, we can move on to the actual post show that I want to do for you guys. So let's start things over right now. Hello, it's like you just tuned in. Welcome to the Grappling Hour post show for the AIGA Trials Day 1. We hope that you guys are having a great day. Let me explain to you what exactly we're doing here tonight. So we were watching along. We didn't do a fight companion. We didn't go to it in person. But I thought it might be a fun exercise to show you some stuff that we prepared from today. Now, mind you, some of the results did change because we don't have a crack team putting this all together. We have me. So when I put this together, it was the best information at the time. We'll talk about some of the things that happened since I put all these elements together. But what we're going to do here today is straight up Sports Center side, take you guys through some of the 10 most notable moments from today. And I hope that this fills in some blanks. Let's say you didn't watch it. Let's say you're just right now watching the pre-show and wanting to talk about the event. Or you didn't watch anything and you're extremely confused by the 20 different rule sets and information posts to get any sense of what the hell is going on this thing. Don't worry, I mostly have you covered here tonight. So what we're going to do, we're going to take each of these things, each of these elements, bit by bit, and we are going to walk you through it all. And hopefully, sincerely hopefully, you guys will walk away with a better understanding of what exactly went on at AIGA. And this is the part where I tell you guys, if you are watching on Instagram, I would highly recommend that you go to YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, anything. And it says here, no worries, but I'm hitting the rack. I have to be ready for the PGF Insiders podcast at 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow on PGF World's YouTube channel. Yes, thank you very much for that. Egg, we wish you very well. And I do hear that you'll be joining us next week for our draft for the PGF. So study a little bit harder so maybe you can win this year, because you did not win this year. All right, let's get to the dance. Ladies and gentlemen, here were the top 10 notable moments from this event at AIGA, the US trials. First and foremost, I thought this was America, people. There was a moment in this trials process where Gio Martinez was looking around and thought to himself, wait, you mean I'm not allowed to do a twister? Yeah, they told him that there was no such thing allowed at this particular tournament. So you got to see this epic moment when he actually turned, I'm pretty sure not only to his team members, but to Eddie and everybody else just standing on the sidelines, when he threw up the hands and goes, we can't do this here? And he had to let it go. Now, granted, he kept it for a few seconds later, but it was an excellent exchange. And it's a great opportunity for us to say, Gio Martinez, respect to you, brother, because I can't believe how good you still look as a competitor. It is fantastic to see you in this rule set, and we just miss you, dude. Like, it is always a great opportunity to see you at work. So big ups to our good friend Gio Martinez. And I have to say as well, like, his opponent just got done with a grueling match. That dude had over 30 minutes of grappling here today, and to be at the same class with Gio Martinez and to keep his team on a prayer and a hope, that is a remarkable thing. So I would say this, thank you so much for that. We now move on to the second most notable moment of the day, which is that mystery order. Did you know that for this particular event, the way they did it was that they did the categories out of order? That's kind of cool. And I'm all for that, except for one thing. The way in which they don't really tell that to the people or communicate it a certain way made everybody look so confused throughout the evening. So it looked like as they were about to get their card, they literally look at them, they're like, pull a card. And they're like, why am I pulling? This isn't a kid's party. Is this your card? And they just basically did that to them each time. And the way that different coaches responded to it, some played into it. Some were like, here's my weight class. Here's the next one. And others were like, who do I have to show this? Do you need to see this? And at certain points, Jake Watson, who is announcing these people picking the cards out at random, had to basically turn around and get them to show him that card. So that was another notable moment from the day. But mystery order, I don't know about it. Mystery is still out on that one. Big shout out to the homie, Isaac Cordova. He might have killed a guy. Got weird. Isaac Cordova was just one of the many people who looked very good throughout the day, but I have to say this, there is a special appreciation for what he was able to do. He took on a very good competitor, I believe it's Tudang, from over at American Legion Jiu-Jitsu, and, you know, he definitely was giving him a great clash, but Isaac looked so calm, so composed, and actually put his opponent to sleep where he was twitching. So I'm glad to see that his opponent was okay. We just wanted to give a shout out to Dovadog himself because it was fairly impressive. And like I said, once you know the opponent's okay, then we got to come here and say, that's a pretty epic moment. So shout out to friend of the show, Dovadog, for an incredible moment like that. I have to say this, team finishers in their initial entry did show out today. They set the tone very nicely, and that team, it was a nice little ragtag team of individuals here. But just to give you an idea of how they were able to set the tone so early in the day, when you had the finishers team out there, they looked as strong as they were billed throughout the day. You essentially had them looking very good against Legion, but you had Cordova, Alan Sanchez picking up wins. Renee Souza had a very good match against Bobby Winther, but did go on the wrong side of a decision there. And from those last couple things, you did see Sid, you did see Adam Bradley putting in good moments, but ultimately it was a very good moment for the finishers team. So big shout out to them and how they were able to set the tone here earlier today. So others did it, but they did it very well to start the day off on. Let's go to our next one, which is this. It was also a very good day for the PGF players. Now, I know that we were looking forward to seeing big moments from people like Dorian, but Dory actually didn't compete today. So we're not sure how he's going to do, but Dory's going to probably do well tomorrow. I think they're probably resting him. That's the benefit of this particular format, is you can rest certain people and have them accessible at different times. Nonetheless, the competitors that we did see, Adam Bradley looked good, Kyle Chambers looked good, Braylor Grout looked good, didn't end up, I believe, winning his match. I'll have to double check that one, but still looked very solid in his competition. And then, of course, Ryan Aiken made short work of his opponent. So if you're looking for what we can be excited about in this next season of the PGF, I think you have to give some love to the fact that the PGF players that are very quickly about to turn around and do it all in Vegas made an impressive showing at tonight's event. So big shout outs to the homies there for doing the great work. We're now going to go on over to doing this, which is, yes, they played well, but I have to give a shout out, respect to Team Vanguard. Team Vanguard had some of the most epic moments of the day. And Daniel Stolasu, and I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, looked incredible. The leg attacks were right on point, and it definitely did make us jump out of our seat. But of course, Flava Flav looked pretty good. I thought he had a great back and forth. And of course, if you're looking at it, Josh Sanders picked up a win, looked great. Nick Ronan, who we don't always get to see compete because he's been opening up his own academy, looked very solid. And when it came down to Dylan Garofalo, he was this close to securing a win for his team. And I got to tell you, that heart he displayed out there, I thought was really good. So I do want to give our due respect to that Team Vanguard. We'll see how tomorrow plays out, but I at least wanted to make sure that they get respect for what they were able to put out here today. Let's go ahead and move on to our next one, which is things got a little shady. Look at this guy. This dude's like super shady. Why is he wearing the shades inside? We learned on the commentary that, yes, it did appear that he was going through, I guess, some medical issues, so he had to kind of keep the shades on. Like maybe the lights were too extreme, but whatever reason it was, I thought he looked pretty cool. At one point, they referred to him as the Terminator on commentary, but I gotta tell you, I think he actually looked even cooler than that. And I'm not opposed to it, but I do have to say, if you do miss a tap, maybe we need to have you take it off, because the checkmat people might say that Bobby Winter did tap maybe within the second, but Bobby Winter's the homie, so I would never say that. But like other people said that, so just saying, maybe not always on them, but it does give them an opening to say stuff about that sort of thing. Nonetheless, cool fashion statement. Let's go to this. Switch ups. Okay, guys, we need to figure out a way to make this work. And here's why. When we talked a little bit earlier about the fact that at one point, Team Checkmat was coming out for their very first and last round of the day. When they did, they pulled a switcheroo and they had Elder Crews that they were going to sit down. Shouldn't be a problem, but if you don't tell people in a certain order, which is within their right, but if they don't hit it by a certain time, it's not in on the graphics team. Now, as a production guy, I feel we need a cutoff time. So whatever it is you're doing as an organizer for AIGA, you have to tell the team when it's the last absolute second they can let you know. And then have a plan to maybe have some hold or elevator music while maybe you tell your team to just kind of stall or vamp. Because it got real awkward when he's like, and it's Elder Crews. It's supposed to be Elder Crews. Elder Crews, please. Just saying. It's not bad to play the rules, but we just need to figure out a way that looks better as a production. Hey, new thing. Out of bounds be damned. Look at this. They were letting people go off mats. Now, at this particular juncture, this is a relatively safer version of what ended up playing out yesterday, or today, I guess I should say. But when it took place, they actually moved the table because they were like, you know what? He looks like he might have a Darce here. We got to let them keep going, which is kind of in that realm of what they do at ADCC. And it begs the question, why do we keep letting people do this? We don't actually have to let them go out of bounds. If they're going out of bounds, maybe we need to have a rule set or some way to encourage them there, because they had plenty of mat space tonight. So it's not any of those reasons. Let's just try to figure out what the rule set is going to be, because I feel like that's when you're going to get people who get hurt. Let's go to our next one, which is, and I think this is actually our 10th one. Rules? What rules? So hilariously, in the chat for the YouTube free stream here tonight, Tom Lawler was in the comment section and basically said, I don't understand what any of these rules are, but I've seen it like 5 different times on 5 different Flow broadcasts. I kind of like what I see. And I think that really gets to the core of what AIGA is. Nobody knows what the rules are or can explain them. Clearly, this guy couldn't in 20 minutes time. There's something about it, but I think we need to fix it. I think we need to make it a little simpler because as it is, there are far too many ways to have to explain all the things you have to do to advance. And again, I say this with all love. Graphics team, graphics team, graphics team. Let your graphics team give us an update on who, what, where, when, and why. And I think you might have a better broadcast. And that's the recap of what happened here tonight at AIGA Trials US Day 1. Not bad. We did all in 10 minutes. Now, granted, I'm a little pissed because I think I put one as 8. Did I put 2 things as 8? I think I did. Yeah. That'll eat at me for a little while tonight, but not too long. Anyway, friends, that essentially was what I had prepped for tonight's festivities. I hope that was informative for you. I hope that taught you something. I hope that you learned something from it. But we did our best to kind of group all of these things together tonight so that you have a better idea. And it's my hope to do segments like this in the future where we take 1 minute to hit every single one of the big moments at something fun like this. So in the future, it may be something that we look to do a little bit more, but especially if we don't have the time, the capabilities of doing a full-on fight companion, which Lord knows, I thought about doing one late, and then I looked at it and I go, this is going to be on for 2 years. Eesh. Nonetheless, I thought it would be a fun experiment to chat with you all, our friends, and we'll put this up. So I'm going to stay on for like 1 or 2 more minutes. If you guys have any questions, throw them at me. Hopefully I can help you process what you were able to see here tonight. But before we do sign off, and unless I see other questions, I will just go through and give some shout outs to some matches and to some people that I thought were notable. I want to give a shout out to the homie Bobby Winther. Now I know he got caught in his match against Lowe, but Bobby looked really good and like a really good leader for Legion. And he definitely went 1-1, but just always fun to watch and just an incredible performer. So big shout out to him. Bradley looked good, or as he's listed on the Smooth Comp website, Adam Brandley. So there's that. Shout out to Alan Sanchez, who also got a great finish tonight. Shout out to Isaac Cordova. And of course, to many of the homies. Braylor did get a win. My apologies. I wasn't sure if he did get the win, but he did end up getting the win over Connor Dixon. And I do remember him. I want to say it's a submission finish that he ended up getting here. We're actually doing a quick check on that one. Yes, he did get by submission. So my apologies to him. I'm glad we were able to rectify that one very quickly while on air. But he looked really good. Nicholas Ronan, just, man, I love seeing that guy compete. It's always a blast. Ryan Aiken looked fantastic. Josh Sanders, very, very fun tonight. Super good. Ended up beating Kevin Burbick, and I thought that was a great match. Gio Martinez picking up a razor-thin victory tonight, but showing us why he's still one of the most beloved competitors to watch. David Stolisu, amazing. Just fantastic finish. He got Ben Eddy, and I thought, okay, he's going to be on a great level tonight, so definitely looked good. Kyle Chambers looked fantastic. Super shout out to him. Elder Cruz ends up just picking up, I guess, a win, even though they didn't change his names because it wasn't Elder Cruz who went out, so they did fix that one entirely. Mateus Luna looked really nice tonight. Enjoyed that. Shout out Francisco Lowe. That was a big win over Bobby Winther. He's a very, very difficult person to beat. Michael Esquivas, very good performance here tonight. And then just to kind of shout out the last people again, like we said, it's a repeat of David Stolisu, Josh Sanders, Nick Ronan. And even though you guys didn't pick up the win, big shout outs to you. And we will look to see what exactly tomorrow Fight Sports is able to do, as well as Team Checkmat, who now is coming in with a pretty big chip on their shoulder. So we'll see how this all shakes out. But if we're looking now back at the results, you're looking at Team Finishers having a rough day potentially against Team Checkmat tomorrow. That might be a very fun one to watch. And then just looking down here and saying like, well, Team Vanguard did win once. 10th Planet didn't win. But tomorrow, Fight Sports having to come back in and go to work against 10th Planet. That'll be something interesting to watch. 10th Planet could still play a spoiler here. So we'll be very interested to see how that all shakes out tomorrow. And that plays out tomorrow on Flow Grappling for Flow Grappling subscribers at, I think it will be approximately 4 p.m. So it'll probably be about 4:20. They're going to start late. And I think we may actually go to that one tomorrow. We're still trying to figure this out. I think I'm going to go live and see what all the haps is on that one. But my thanks to you guys for watching along here tonight. I hope that you enjoyed our little abbreviated version of a post show, and hopefully you learned something. And if you didn't, you know, what am I supposed to do, guys? I'm just one guy. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Rafa Sparza. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.